She's in a meeting.
Now, you don't have Cheryl, so you'll have to work around that a little bit.
Right. Cheryl, I left my paperwork at work, but she sent a scanned version, didn't she? In an email?
Yes. And I think it's on the website as well.
Okay, so I can get the agenda there.
Came back on. Oh, look here.
All right, it's 7 with Ellie Field, Rusty Cabot, Ed Mayato, and Wayne Montgomery, and myself. I believe we have a quorum. So I would call the meeting to order. And hope more people join us as it goes along. Given the tenuousness of our power grid at the moment, maybe we will adjust the agenda slightly. Do we need a vote to do that, Carol?
You should.
So do I hear a motion to change the agenda so that we can first pay the bills and second authorize the funds for the closing of the BHS property?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimously, we agree to that, Carol. So that first item of business is to pay the bills as presented in your packet. And I'd like to add one other item, which is to pay dues to the Rhode Island Land Trust Council of $125. Do I hear that motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's a unanimous yes, Carol. Thank you for that. Secondly, we are lined up to close the BHS property acquisition. And while we've approved the acquisition, just for Joe's sake, to get the funds, do I hear a motion to authorize Joe to request the closing funds from Mary Jane, the treasurer, to pay the owners of the BHS property?
I make that motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Hi,
Aye.
David. We just,
Record show that David's now here.
so David, for your updating purposes, what we did, given that the power is flickering, we did our 2 time-sensitive items, which were to pay the bills and to authorize the closing funds for the BHS property closing. So that's, sorry?
I was trying to get on, but the connection kept failing.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, the next, so we'll go back to the regular agenda. And the first item is to approve the minutes.
Bill, do you want to read? You want to read the bills, or you just want to approve them the way they are?
Sure, yeah, if you want to read them, that'd be great. We approve them, but let's read them just in case.
I have another one that's not on there, so let's go through them quick.
Yes,
Jose,
please.
$6,250. Boy Huck, $160. Cheryl Katie, $1,500. Modern Printing, $86. Russo Landscaping, $1,585. Rebus Law LLC, $355. And I have one from Elder Brothers for $405. That's the bills for the month.
Okay, plus the one I mentioned, which was Rhode Island Land Trust Council for $125. So we have approved those bills for payment. Thanks for that, Wayne. We'll double back now and try to approve the minutes from last month's meeting. Do I hear that motion?
Make that
Make
motion.
that, make that motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thanks. So I can't download my scanned copy of the agenda, so if someone could help me with this, who has an agenda in front of them.
Cheryl is now on.
Okay, hi
guys.
Cheryl.
Hi, did you already do the vote about BHS that you wanted?
Yes, and we did paid the bills as well, and we've just approved the minutes.
Okay, so we're on to the audit. So I sent you some information on the audit. There's a discrepancy on the amount of donations. That's that $372,000. According to Mary Jane, we have more money than what we have accounted for donations. So I'm trying to figure that out. I don't know if I'll be able to, but I'll do my best.
So in other words, the donors for the Stone property acquisition donated more in than we paid out?
Maybe,
Wow.
but
It's hard to believe that they could close on a $2+ million acquisition and be $300,000 short and no one noticed.
No. So we have 300 and something $1,000 more in donations than we sent out thank you notes for,
Oh,
is
okay,
my
that's a different.
understanding. Yeah, we're not short. We have more than.
Right, I understand, but that indicates that we didn't pay it out at the closing.
I think the problem is that some of the money went to Andy Tights and escrow and not through Mary Jane. Anyway, I'm still trying to figure it out. I've been looking at it and
Okay.
looking at it, but at some point we'll figure it out.
Okay, you have a lot of correspondence there from Andy Tights' office and Joe, obviously.
Right.
Both those guys were tracking the money, so they should be able to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, that's my thought.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Uh,
I need to get that. The annual report is done, except for that number for donations. I'm not exactly sure what number to put in there.
Go with the number you have, and that's fine.
Okay. I'll go with Mary Jane's number then.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay, so then after the audit, we had correspondence, correct?
Yes.
The first correspondence item in my memory was the community garden note.
Yes.
Would anyone care to put up their hand and communicate with this woman? What's her name, please?
Martha Fisher.
Yeah, I don't want to do this. So, and I don't mind that if we host a community garden, but I don't want to put it on my list. So could somebody else put it on their list, please?
I could talk to Martha Fisher.
That'd be great.
Okay.
And if she comes back and says, we think this is a site on Ag Trust land, just say, I'll take it back to my board and we'll talk about it. But, and I'm assuming collectively as a group, we have nothing against hosting a community garden, gratis, if that's what people want from us. But let's let them give us the details. Is everyone okay with that?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks, Ellie. After that, it was the
Food Bank Farm.
the farmer guy, right?
Yeah, Thomas Young, Food Bank Farmer.
Yeah. Same kind of deal. You want to talk to him too, Ellie,
Sure,
while you're talking to people?
sure.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
After that, I went back and forth with,
Matt Sardina.
yeah, he's fine. He wants to go hunting and that's fine. What was after that?
Michelle Sheehan, monitoring reports.
Oh, yeah. Carol is here tonight, but she took, and I'm sure we'll hear it in her report. Can you hear us, Carol? Trocky?
She can hear you.
Oh, yeah, she's got a red, maybe
She
she's
put
out of
her-
power over there or something. Anyway,
She's
Carol
on-
Carol Trocky has provided those monitoring reports to Michelle Sheehan. I can report that. What's next in correspondence?
Letter from Rhode Island Land Trust Council regarding dues.
Yep, we just took care of that.
Monitoring report from SPA for Marvel Preserve received. Public,
Yeah, I looked at that. Didn't seem to be anything particularly pressing, except maybe at some point we have to decide if we're going to pay to have the tower repaired or taken away.
Mm.
But I don't think we have to decide that tonight.
One
Bill,
is-
this is Rusty.
Hi, Rusty.
Yeah, I was down by South Shore Beach this morning taking a little vacation, and it looked like there was a chain across that parking lot.
Yes. So because of all the odd COVID traffic early in the spring and then into the summer, and because that parking lot gets used by beach goers as overflow and for other reasons, the beach guys sort of manage the parking lot, and when they feel like people shouldn't be in there, they put the chain up, and maybe it should be down now that the beach season is sort of winding down, but that's what happened, and that's what they were doing. And I thought it was a pretty good way to go because they're on top of it every day. But it's a good question. I don't know why it's up now. Okay, after that, Ellie, what do you got?
public notice received from zoning board regarding public hearing on Wednesday, the 21st at 7 on the following petitions. 11 Goodrich LLC. Petition of William T. and Amy Corbett, 89 Butts Rock Road. And petition of Paris St. Pierre, 9 William Sisson Road.
Right. When I looked at those, I didn't think we needed to weigh in on any of those variance requests. Is Mike on?
No.
No,
I don't know if anyone else feels differently about those things, but that was my take on them. Okay, hearing none, we'll move on. What's next?
Treasurer's report.
Did that? Well, that's not true. Wayne, can you give us the balances and the last month's transfers,
Yes.
please?
I can. Beginning balance, $2,069,875.42. Revenues from transfer tax was $107,400. Interest earned was $1,252.23. Expenses, $15,692. And we had a closing balance of $2,162,835.65. And we had transfer tax amounted to $297,173.34.
Great. And
That's it.
Cheryl reviewed those. David asked a question about them, which we answered. Any comment or questions on the big month we had there in the transfer tax department?
I have a question, which might be the question that David asked that I'm unaware of, but just the one for 3031. Why wasn't there any tax on that one?
Is that
Is that
Mataronis?
Mataronis?
It's Mataronis, yes.
Yeah, they have 3 lots and they took 3 exemptions.
Oh, great. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
That was it, Ed.
that was the same question. You guys are eagle-eyed together.
I'll take that as a compliment that I'm the same as David.
Okay, what's next, Ellie?
Old business. So public awareness is first.
Oh, yeah, so public awareness, Cheryl, at my request, very nicely got a report from what's his name, Ross?
From Roy.
Roy, about the web traffic, which I thought was pretty interesting. There's a fair amount of web traffic. The web does generate traffic. And I think it's something we should be watching. I think at this same item, I can report that my subcommittee that we formed, David met with them, with myself, John Gwynn, Carter Wilkie, Helena Harris, and Ned Levine. They have since met one more time without me, which is good. And basically, we've identified what we believe to be our three priorities, which are inventory of our lands with a focus on access, public use, and ag potential. So in other words, identify parcels that are ag ready or near ag ready, and also parcels that are would be easy to increase public use, as we're doing at Peckham, for instance. So this group, I would like to either through Ned or David access our database, maybe work with Cheryl and Wayne on what some of these parcels. And for instance, when we do close BHS, which I hope we do this week or early next, there's a prime new farm parcel for us. How do we want to deal with that? And maybe that should be a stewardship item, or we should put it on for next month after we close. But that type of issue. So that was their first item for this public communications outreach committee. The second item was farmer connections, how to promote and connect our available land to farmers. We've talked about this before, but this group would like to work on it. Carter Wilkie has some experience doing that work, and Wayne has some good ideas there too. So, and then finally, an enhanced annual report. So instead of meeting our regulated minimum, which is kind of what we do with our annual report now, as far as reporting the numbers and so on, we could make the annual report more informative, and an annual report on more activities. That we could add profiles of properties, stories of what happened in the year.
A newsletter.
Yeah, essentially, and use that vehicle of the annual report to do more reporting on our activities. So those are the three areas they're looking at, and they're going to come back to us in a month with sort of concrete proposals within each of those three areas. And if anyone wants to get involved with some or all of that, let me know, and I'll put you in touch with the group, put you in the group emails. So that's what's happening on that public outreach group. What's next, Ellie?
Stewardship committee update.
So we don't have Carol, but as I already reported, she has, well, I didn't report this. She's finished.
We do have Carol.
Oh, Carol Chalk, are you there now?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So you should have had a report. The monitoring for the second round of monitoring, which spans sort of last September through now, is complete. I just got all the paper reports to Cheryl today, but in your packet, there was a summary of some of the findings that may be of interest, places where there were concerns or things you should know about, or things that you might want to take action on. So I don't know, Bill, how you want to do this, if you want to go through them one by one, or you want me to just be available for questions, or
it's an interesting list of items, and
it is.
I don't know that we're going to solve them going through them one by one tonight. I guess maybe Wayne and I sort of handle these things typically. Who wants to be involved in handling things? Maybe we put a little committee together and divvy up the list as far as contacting the relative owners and so on. Or do we want to go through them all right now? Does anyone have a strong feeling about this?
Yeah, I think I'd like to be involved with that some fashion. Why don't we
Right.
divide it up and then I don't know what how many you're talking, but
Okay, so Cheryl, maybe
Yes.
you can help me with this. If you take just that report
Yep.
and resend it just as a page or two to all of us, then we can, those who are interested can reply all to what they're interested in addressing, and we'll go from there. How about that? And then the people interested and the people who want to work on this will come back next month and tell everyone what we did. Is that a reasonable approach?
So Bill, I think what we would have to do is I would have to send it and then people will have to address it to me, not to everyone as a group.
Okay,
Okay? And then
Yep.
I can divvy it up or do whatever.
great.
Okay.
sounds good.
Carol, go ahead. What else you got? Carol Trocki.
So that was the main bulk of information for this month, was just the results of monitoring and kind of discussing things that were brought up to see how you wanted to handle them. Still moving on BDRs, there was a new one completed this month for D'Souza Fee off of Swamp Road. And I have the 5 from Colebrook Woods from the spring ready to send to Cheryl. They didn't make it out before the power went out today, but will be along shortly.
Great, thank you. I can also report that I brought Jesse Helger back to the well on the Costa line. And he can put a big rock out of his big rock pile on a machine and bring it back there for us at some point. So he said he would do that. And I know Wayne covered up the other well that we've been talking about.
Oh, great. Maybe the one other thing while you're all together that came up. So with monitoring, as we're reaching out to more landowners and gathering information, there's been a lot more requests for me to meet with folks during monitoring. Sometimes that's because they have something to confess that they need you to hear about. But sometimes they just want to talk to somebody. And one of the things that came up from a handful of landowners was a question about, ideas they have or potential projects in the future, and what do they need to talk to you about, and, what has to come before you, and how they go about doing that. So those sorts of things I always just send to you directly, but I was thinking you might want to consider maybe having some sort of guidance for landowners on the website that just sort of says, here are the types of things we need you to let us know about, and how you want people to reach out to you, because there seems to be, I'm glad they're taking advantage of the increased contact, but there seems to be a little confusion about, do they need to tell you if they're trimming vegetation or building something, or like, what are the rules? And I know it's specific to each property, but it might help
But
funnel
there
things.
are a lot of commonalities in the easements, and having a dedicated landowner with an easement web page or pages is a good idea.
It might just make it easier for you to receive them rather than having them come in all over the place. You might have a process that makes it easier for you to review and document without it being so scattershot.
Okay. Okay.
What if we sent a letter to the easement holders? First of all, what if we divided up the easement among the members and then sent a letter reaching out to the easement holders saying, this is your contact person. Should you have any questions about your easement or activities on the conserved land, feel free to reach out to them.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I also think giving them some constantly available tools in terms of referencing, common practices would be a good idea through the website. So,
So you
All
and
right.
I will have to talk about how you want that to look.
Yeah, okay. Okay, you and I will do that. What else you got, Ellie? Is that it for you, Carol Chalky?
Yeah, I think so, unless anyone has specific questions from anything in the report this month. Okay,
Thank you, Carol.
sure.
All right, so going through, I'll just zip through the stewardship thing because I think most of it got, but anyway, so Carol Truckee, monitoring reports, management plans for owned fee properties, Lash, stewardship and tree cutting,
Nothing happened there.
PT Marvel Preserve, fence replacement and stewardship,
Nothing there either.
Douglas well cover,
That got done.
Trowbridge Stone Erdman, Stonewall work paths and access.
Some of that stonework has been done. And the partial bit of the path was done and the openings, that can come off, actually. That really got done. Needs to be enhanced for next year, but
Wislocky mowing and stewardship needs.
Wayne, yeah, go ahead, Wayne.
That's in the works. We got somebody that's gonna mow it, and they'll mow it when it's their schedule. So it should be happening probably the middle of this month.
Yeah, the other thing that was supposed to happen was Mike and I were going to go there, find the bounds with her. We didn't manage to do that, but I did send her a copy of the survey that Mike got for us. So I mean, she should be able to find them herself. But so I have been in contact with her about that. So those things got done. Not everything, but some of them. What else?
Advertising of leases for John and June Goulart, Gagnon, Almy, Peckham. That's it. And Pine Bridge Ponds.
Right. So I had a conversation. I was supposed to write letters. I didn't. I spoke though with both Craig and Skip. Wayne, you had some conversations too, I know.
Yeah, I spoke with Craig. I hadn't spoke with Skip yet.
Okay. So are we, let's see, it's October. So we wanted to advertise these next month, Cheryl?
So my thought is to advertise them hopefully in next week's Secana Times. And then I believe, I'm just looking for my ad. I believe that I said that they needed to be in by November 4th. All bids needed to be into the town clerk on November 4th. And then we would open them at our next meeting. Right after that.
So what do you think, Wayne? Can we proceed on that schedule, working with these guys?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean,
We can change it if you want to. That's not a problem.
I would
Right,
maybe put it to the December meeting.
Okay.
Because it's, guys, everybody's pretty busy right now, and things will slow down within the next month or so. I think you could advertise it now and then make the deadline December for our December meeting.
Right, that's what I was going to suggest. Let's advertise it and then delay the bids.
So this
Right.
is Rusty again. What was the response from Craig and Skip when you, Bill, and Wayne talked to them?
My experience with both of them was positive. Craig was saying how his deficiency, if there was one, was that he was supposed to remove this debris pile. He had removed most of the debris pile. The neighbor, he thinks the neighbor's adding more to it, and he wants us to talk to them. And that was sort of the gist. That was my conversation with Craig. Skip, I was talking to him, it was before he'd mowed the back. He's mowed the back since. I talked to him about clearing off the deer fencing, which is getting covered in vines. I forgot to mention the fruit trees to him, but he's amenable to what I did talk to him about. and he knows about the fruit trees, but he does need to be reminded. So, I mean, they both like having the properties. They want to keep doing it, and they're willing to do the work, is what I would say as a summary.
So am I only advertising John and June Goulart, Gagnon,
Oh, you got Almy,
and Almy, right?
Right.
Peckham? Because we gotta advertise the vineyard land, right?
Right.
Well, that's Peckham.
Yep.
And then the Ponce property.
Ponce, you have the opportunity on Costa to just roll over again.
Okay, so don't advertise that one.
Yeah, I thought we had decided to roll that over.
You said, I think you wanted to talk to Joe about something, cutting something.
Yeah, I want to tell Joe, remind him what he put in his lease agreement. He was supposed to cut around the edges of the field. I don't know if he's done it yet or not. They just took the corn off this week, so I just wanted him to. What I really wanted was all these guys to read their leases, because there's little things they haven't done that they said they were going to do, and that's the whole thing that they were trying to get done.
Okay. So we're gonna advertise John and June Goulart, Gagnon, Almy, and Peckham.
Yes.
With the new deadline of December. Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Costa. I don't know if Costa.
Costa
That was
can
a-
roll.
That was the same time that we're going to roll that over too, right?
No, Costa and Pine Bridge have only had 1 year.
So
That's what I was thinking.
We're going to let them renew if it's agreeable.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought we were doing with both
So
those.
you may want to take a vote on that if you're gonna renew with them.
Well, we'll renew it. We'll renew when we do the other ones.
Okay,
Extend the lease when we do everything all together.
okay.
I just want to talk with them, and especially Joe, about what he wrote in his lease agreement.
So
We'll just roll it over. I mean, extend it.
just so everyone's clear, for Peckham, the Peckham property, we're gonna do 2 advertisement. One is for the vineyard portion, and the other is for the Skip Paul portion?
Yes.
Okay,
I think we should leave the hayland out, because if nobody takes that, then we get a expensive mowing it. So for this time, I wouldn't try to get anybody to lease that.
Right. Well, I mean, we're already increasing it by doing the skip portion. He doesn't lease that now. He just used it.
Right.
So.
somebody
let's
gonna let Skip know that it's going out to lease?
Yeah, I'll talk
Yeah.
again to Skip. Yep, both of us should, Wayne.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and for the vineyard portion, I put 8+ acres of farmland currently in grapes. Do you want to leave the in grapes part?
Yep, it is. So, yeah.
I think
Okay.
so.
Okay. Okay, so we need a motion to advertise that, or to authorize me or advertise.
I make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Any nays? No. Okay, thanks for that, Cheryl. Wayne, what's next, Ellie?
Acquisition committee update, review property status, take action. So it starts Helger Bento Tree Farm.
I'll give you a little update there. We went up there last weekend, Wayne and I and Ned and John Berg. We were actually looking at the property to the east, Alan Booth's property, but you have to go through Helger Bento to get there. We spoke with Gene. We are trying, Mr. Booth has his property, which is 25 acres, abutting Helger Bento. He has it on the market. There's a funky right of way there, etc. So he hasn't had any bites yet, but we are going to solicit a application from him, try to package El Gibento and Booth together and perhaps try to move the Ratcliffe grant over to that land and do a big deal. It would be two different deals. It would be, what did we decide it was, like 60 or 70 acres of land. It's a big chunk of land up there. So that's out there and pending. And hopefully we do that and package it all together with an offer in the next, I don't know what, months for El Gibento.
Nice. Okay, driver,
No action.
VHS,
Closing is pending. I'm not sure exactly the day yet, but any day.
Kata,
Can we have a motion authorizing Bill to close on that property?
We already did.
You did? Okay,
Yep.
I think I missed that. Okay.
Kata,
Nothing.
West,
Nope.
Baldridge,
Nope.
Ryan,
Nope.
Levine,
Nope.
Rice.
You there, Ned?
He is.
You want to speak to that, Ned?
He has his hand raised, so I'm assuming he will. Just waiting for him to.
Hello?
There he
Can
is.
you hear
Hi,
me?
Ned.
Hi
Yes.
there, Bill. Hi, everyone. Yeah, I can speak to it. I'll speak to it very candidly. Trying to figure out when we can use the tax benefit.
Okay. Let us know.
I know, keep it on the list.
All right. Thank you. Next.
Rice Farm,
Nothing. Rusty, you don't have any update there, do you?
No, I don't.
Okay.
okay, Jackson,
Joe has met twice with him. The last sticking point I heard was that Kyle wants to reserve out a 2-acre house lot. He wanted to have it as a floating right. And I've told Joe that we don't want that. We have to identify where the 2 acres are and we have to survey it and so on. And that's where it stands. So
okay. Souza,
well, he's ready to go. He needs Kyle to put his
Oh, right.
identify his 2 acres,
Sorry.
and then we got a package. Although I don't actually, theoretically, we don't have to wait. Maybe we could do the uncle first. I'll talk to Joe about that. We should do that because he's 94 or 5 years old, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay. Well, can I have a motion then to confirm our existing offer with Mr. Souza and authorize Joe to move to a purchase agreement and a closing should he be willing?
I'd make
Yeah,
that motion.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Okay.
All right, Westport Land Conservation Trust, Conservation Easement Deed Closing Letter from Town.
That's a donation. They had asked for they were going to donate it to us and get an easement back from us. Joe Marion rightly pointed out, we're not allowed to convey an easement to them. We're not allowed to convey anything that we own. So that's a property interest that we would own. And Joe and Ross were going to work out something around that. The simplest thing would be to just give us the property and move on. But anyway, that's where that stands. I haven't heard the solution to that.
Okay,
Who's in charge, Bill, who's in charge of that trail as we pick it up in Little Compton?
The property, who's in charge of the?
Who's in charge of the trail? In other words, that I walk over there and it goes from Westport into Compton. And
Oh, yeah. So not on this property we're talking about, but yes, from the old boys club into Little Compton. Yes. So that path, or there's a few paths there, but if you start at where the old swimming pool was at what is now the Westport site and you go northwest, you walk into that Cotton Brook property that we have. So part of that path goes into our property, goes across it, up into the quarry, the sand pit, and up into Newport Water property. So there's a whole grab bag of organizations in there. SPA's in there too.
Okay.
So, you know, I know that Westport Land Trust wants to do maintenance on, and maybe does do maintenance on those trails. And they talked to us at one point about formalizing that, but that hasn't happened yet. But if they mow a path,
Yeah, because they're putting, they're mowing the paths and they're putting arrows for the paths. And I said, what do you do once it goes into Little Compton? They said, oh, that's Little Compton's responsibility. I didn't know whether it was our responsibility.
part of it is ours, part of it is SBA, I guess is the official answer. The reality is Westport does it all.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the truth.
All right.
They're moving their headquarters to that building, that old the church property, away from their other headquarters. That they've refurbished it and they're going to move into there.
Yeah, it's nice. It's going to be nice for them.
Alverness, Manchester,
Nothing.
Ratcliffe.
I've written him and heard nothing back. I think it's dead. That's why I'm going to try to talk to Michelle Sheen about moving that money.
Okay. Nelson.
So the Historical Society has an appraisal on their remainder interest. We have an appraisal, which is sort of being modified a little bit. It's a really complicated appraisal to appraise that remainder interest. We are getting ready we're sharing all our information between the two organizations. And if we can get to an agreed price between the Ag Trust and the Historical Society, then we'll go fundraise against it. We're not going to dip into sort of regular transfer funds for that. And the idea there would be to buy the Historical Society 75% remainder interest, which vests upon the death of first Jack and then Michael, or whichever order they die in. But that's a 75% undivided interest in that property. That's what we're seeking. So we've made some progress there. The title search has been agonizingly slow and unsuccessful so far. Carol Wardell, have you heard from anyone on that?
Oh, yes. She's been in contact and doing a lot of research.
Oh, good. Okay. So maybe we'll get a title after all.
Yeah.
Bill,
So-
Bill Wayne, is that a fee deal?
Well, it's a yes and no. It's a fee deal subject to the life estates owned by Jack and Michael. So in other words, once their life estates expire with their lives, then we have a 75% fee, undivided fee interest in the property.
Okay.
What else you got, Ellie?
All right, then it goes to new business. Memo from Larry Anderson.
Is Larry with us?
Yes, he is.
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, hi, Larry.
Hi.
I read your note. I appreciate your effort on that. It's a nice summary. Well, it's more than a summary. It's an in-depth look at what's going on. So I appreciate it. Thank you for delivering it.
Well, thank you. I just wanted to, again, it is what it is. It's my, I did it partly for my sake, partly for your sake. And I did feel I owed the council some kind of report in my capacity. There really hadn't been much reason in the last 2 years for the trust and the council to, there hadn't been any major issues that had come up that the council needed to be involved in. So I did this for the sake of sort of reference in a way for future consideration for all of you. So I want to thank you for all your efforts and thanks for putting up with me. I won't go away, I'm sure, but I won't be in the capacity of council liaison. So thanks very much.
All right, well, thank you for being such a diligent meeting attender. And again, for all the input you've given us over the last couple of years, it's really appreciated.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Larry.
I had communicated with Larry. I thought it was a very even-handed, fair analysis, Larry, and we all appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anything else, Ellie?
There's nothing specifically there. I was just before everybody came on, I was talking to Rusty a little bit about hunting, and I don't know if we're allowed to talk about hunting under, or no, we're not. Okay, can I
Not
ask?
on the agenda.
Okay, can we just ask when, like how we get people to be allowed to hunt or not hunt?
Yeah, you send them to me basically, and we have a process, which is basically there's a waiver, there's an application, they describe where and how they want to hunt and for what types of game. And I look at where other hunters are already hunting and see if it's appropriate. And also if the parcel they're asking about is appropriate for the type of hunting that they're interested in, and say yes or no to them. And then I send them back a signed permission slip. Then they have to go get a permission from the police.
So
and then they're ready to go.
if there's a potential problem on our hunting land, how does that get dealt with?
Well, I guess it depends on what the problem is, but if it's a game law type of thing, it'd be a DEM, they enforce the game laws. If it's I don't know, like an abutter being upset about a hunter there or something,
That would be good.
then we talk to them.
Okay, so I think there may be a problem. I'm sure you've already heard about this actually down at Costas. And
Oh yeah. Charlie and access and all that stuff.
yeah, and apparently he like screamed at Charlene and
Yeah, don't worry about that. I got Charlie. Don't worry about Charlie. I've heard all about it.
I got an earful about it, so you might need to be
Yeah,
reined in
well,
a little.
y'all might get more earfuls about it because Charlie can't let it go. But in the end, it's much ado about nothing.
Okay. Well, at
So-
least he
so
said he
related-
wasn't going to sue Charlene.
It's very simple. I just withdraw the permission and it's over.
Okay, beautiful.
Where is this taking place?
Costas.
Charlie Whipple used to have, well, we gave him permission to hunt Costa last year. He then got permission from Charlene, my neighbor to the south, to access that property through her driveway from South of Commons Road and back to where Jesse Helger does his thing. And this year, when he asked for that same permission, I gave him permission to be on the Costa parcel. But then when he asked Charlene, Lynn Brusso got involved and she didn't want Charlie going through. And so she said that, told Charlene that. Charlene said no to Charlie. Charlie got all upset. Anyway, it's a big brouhaha. Like I said, it's much ado about nothing. The simple solution is for me to tell Charlie he doesn't have permission to go to Costa, and then the whole problem just goes away. So that will be the solution.
Sounds like a plan.
I'm
Okay,
sorry you had to deal with that, Ellie, but it's just the way.
no
it works.
worries. No worries. All right, number 7, which I think is really number 8, but anyway, Nature Conservancy update. John?
Is John Berg with us?
He is.
Can you weigh in, John? I
The wanted
only have nine tiles on my screen, so I don't see everybody, I guess.
Oh, he's there.
Yeah, I'm
I've
not
asked
seeing
him
him
to
either.
unmute, but he hasn't unmuted yet.
But he has his license. It looks like
There he is.
a wanted picture.
Shot.
Mugshot, that's it.
I've asked him to unmute, but he hasn't done it yet. So maybe he's not there or he's lost his connection.
Ah.
Well, I can report for him. that he did visit that property to the east of Helger Bento with us, Booth. And he's been talking to Mr. Booth, and he's got property he's working on to the north of that in Tiverton, associated with Booth and Helger Bento and Toasty Farm and all that. And he's doing his thing, and he's being helpful in this Helger Bento and Booth thing. So for our purposes, I think that's what we really want to know from John at the moment. So we'll move on from John, and is that the end of it?
Okay, then there's new application, which it says none, but I have a question, which is, I was talking to somebody who's going to put some property on the market on Willow, basically on the west side of Willow, would abut back towards Bumblebee. And apparently at one point, Bill Eastman had asked them for an easement, and they'd said absolutely not. And so now they're gonna put the property on the market. And I said, maybe you should ask if the Ag Trust is interested. And so she's like, oh, I don't know if they would want it. So anyway, my question is it worthwhile for her to put an application in? It's the west side of Willow.
Does it abut Ponce and run to, is it Derbyshire to the north of Ponce?
Yeah. Yep.
So yes, we take an application on that.
Okay.
Wait, don't we already have that property?
No.
But we have a Derbyshire, the old Priscilla Dow property. That belongs to the Derbyshires.
Well, this would be Petty Derbyshire, and
Right.
Anyway, it costs us nothing to receive an application.
Okay, so it is something that we might be interested in, so I will pass that along. All right, and then after that, the next thing says executive session.
Which we don't need.
We don't have.
Cheryl, chair.
What's
What?
going on there, Cheryl?
What?
So,
What did you say?
Your chair's making.
not what we
noise.
said.
Oh, my chair? I know. What can I say? If you saw like what a disaster it is, like I need a whole nother area over here.
There's apparently, according to the newspaper, there's a lot of office chairs for sale right now. Thousands. Anyway.
Ellie,
David, what to say something?
you do have a DDR over Petty Derbyshire.
We do.
Yes,
Yeah,
directly
okay.
north of Ponce, just so you
Alright.
don't waste anyone's time.
Maybe it's the next parcel. Anyway, tell her to look and see if we already have it, Ellie.
I don't think so.
David,
She
what do you
never
got?
answers our letters, so maybe she doesn't realize that we already have it.
Yeah.
David?
Yeah, so I tried to get this in during Larry Anderson's report. Bill, how does the Conservation Committee fit into this community? You're on
The
a
private group
conservation-
so the one that John Gwyd now runs? Or the Conservation Commission?
I don't know. There's one. I'm trying to understand how the different conservation groups can work better together. So I'm trying to figure out who does what.
Right. Well, so I think you know what SPA does and how they do it and how we work with them. Same with Nature Conservancy. Audubon has some presence in town. The group that you're asking about is, it's just a bunch of private citizens that meet quarterly, and they usually have a speaker associated with some conservation issue. They've had Tiverton Land Trust down. Last month they had Dominique,
Browning.
Browning, an EPA, big EPA wheel from Washington, who has a little Compton presence. They're just basically private citizens trying to be informed about local conservation. And if they feel they have a role they can help, which would normally be with money, then they chip in. That's,
Can you hear me? This is Larry. Am I still,
yes,
So I think there is some confusion between the, and Bill, there is some confusion about the role of the Conservation Commission, which is a town board. You, Don McNaughton and others, that legally speaking, technically speaking, although this really hasn't been part of its job in recent years, is, if you look at the state law, the Conservation Commission is supposed to be maintaining an inventory of open spaces and so forth. That's a legal ability they have under state law. So I included them, I think, in that memo, and they're identified in the comprehensive plan as a board that's supposed to have some role in coordinating and inventorying open space among groups beyond yours. The Conservation Commission hasn't done too much in that in recent years. So there is a difference between the Conservation Commission and this conservation group. Committee that is a private group. It's a private group. That it's not a public group. So there is a distinction. And the Conservation Committee, my observation, I haven't had any involvement with it in recent years. To some degree, they're involved in informing themselves about fundraising prospects. Some of them are people who have participated in some private acquisitions. So they have different legal responsibilities and different roles.
right. Like, does that answer your question, David, or help?
Well, I think we might have to take a little bit of a leadership. This is what we were thinking about with the event that got canceled in June. That, I mean, we really have, an interesting opportunity to weave the groups together because of our constant funding and from a long-term point of view. And it's and if we can somehow, even if we do a Zoom together with the different organizations, you're doing this, you're doing that, how can we coordinate? I mean, we're all concerned about the same things, and the more we work together, the more benefit we're going to do to the community. It's, to keep the silos in this community just don't do us any good. To break down the barriers of these different organizations so we talk to one another will really do us all as a community a lot of good, and that's what we all want to do.
Yep, okay. I think that concludes our agenda.
It does.
I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.